Hey, um, I was talking to one of these guys because I make comments, on pages, and then people come and they say certain things. So I'll make a comment, and then they'll come behind it and say something. I won't, and I'll get all this, I'll get a certain amount of drama behind that, but no, I'm supposed to get my hair cut, but I don't seem to do it. But anyway, I'm leaving. I'm going outside today. You know, I'm very happy today. Very, very. And anyway, this is I want to make this very quick point about this. People, this guy said, and I'll just read here. Well, at September the 1st, it will be legal for 4 states. We're talking about homosexual marriage, okay? Homosexual marriage, okay? Marriage that can't produce life is, it's just, I won't go into all that. But I want to make a very specific point. And I didn't want to really talk about this anymore because I said what I had to say. But I thought this was really interesting. So it's going to be legal in 4 states and more to come in the near future. So it's an absolute agenda to make sure that homosexual marriage is accepted as a norm, okay? And among, which I still can't figure out how that's supposed to work because basically, and they come under the guise that, oh, we just want your unwanted children, so they're supposed to be shaming you as if you're a right they'll never have, which is to produce children. They're shaming you because we have difficulties or whatever, or people have difficulties, or it's different situations, So anyway, and then granted, things have a way of coming around, so this is what happens when you do have children that are, so here comes this other thing, But my point is, he says, and you might as well just accept that same-sex marriage is going to be here to stay and move on with your life. Okay. I wanted to make it very clear, my life has never stopped. This is not affecting me in any way. And nor is when God judges this nation because of this sin that we're tossing in his face. It's not going to affect me in any way, shape, form, or fashion. I will not be judged because of that. Okay? So this is what you guys don't seem to understand, is that I'm not doing this for my benefit. This is not about me at all. This is about our nation. This is about, slowing the process or wanting them, because the first wanting to not wake the lion, so to speak. That's what this is about to me. This, to me, is like when judgment hits our nation and we have something where, massive earthquakes, like they just had in Italy, or when we have a situation that, we have some kind of catastrophe, or something gets wiped out, or 10 tornadoes, or what have you, or whatever goes down. I don't want to hear, look how terrible God is, because that's the first thing you're going to say happen. We're not going to say, oh, look how terrible, look at the retribution we got for our own sin. Okay? Nobody's going to say that. Nobody's going to say, oh, look what happened. Look, they're going to say, nobody's going to say, look at how God punished us for what we did. Nobody's going to say that. They're just going to say, look at how terrible God is. What kind of God would allow this to happen? That's exactly what they're going to say. My point is to stop it before it gets to that point. Okay, that's my only interest. It's not about me. He says, I assure you, it won't make one iota of difference in your own life. No, it will not. It will not affect my life at all. Neither does the judgment, or no, I will be, not that I don't have other things that I will be dealing with, that's between me and God, that he gonna get in my case behind. But it won't be because of that. No, it won't. It won't make not one bit of iota of a difference. My thing is that this nation is beautiful as it is, and I don't want to see it get destroyed. I want to keep the happy times coming so I can go ahead and do what I got to do and fulfill my dream. And that y'all don't jack it up, because y'all done pissed God off. And he done said, yo, everybody stop. I'm just trying to say, that's my concern. My concern is, having a beautiful world to live in. I don't care what you do. I've been around many gays. That don't bother me. I've seen gays doing all kind of crap. I just live in New York. They don't affect me not one bit. I've seen some of the most, not to make people look bad, but I've seen some stuff going down on the train that would make, and in bathrooms and stuff like that is just absolutely appalling. That I just walk out of the bathroom. It ain't gonna make no difference to me. In that respect, it'll mess up my day. I'll be like, oh damn, I wish I had to see that. But public bathrooms, is sitting there like, why won't the police do anything? But anyway, no. As long as he says, as long as your marriage is secure in the first place. My stuff is secure. My whole life is secure. I am not worried about that. And the concern as far as that level. This is not what it's about. This is me trying to do what I can while I can, because, and here's my response. No, it won't make a difference to me when God judges this nation. I am fighting for you now while I can say something, because when good judgment comes, that's it. I ain't got nothing to say, I have nothing to say about it then. It ain't gonna make no difference what I say then. I'm trying to say this now. But when that time, and it won't be able, anything that when God judges that, I will be scared, and all other ground is sinking sand. My whole point is don't blame God then. Don't say it now. All of a sudden, then people want to believe in God then when these tragedies happen and be like, okay, oh yeah, all right, you was right, no, I don't want to hear from you then. I don't want to hear from you then.